violence, destruction, rebellion. All issues directly linked with hip-hop. A world which is so divided by prejudice and injustice, only being made louder and more so by a single culture's influence. We, as a global society, must eradicate the powerful voice given to hip-hop artists before its influence stretches too far. For too long, rap culture and its figureheads have severely damaged the youth's outlook on the world, with more than ever recently, their rebellion being enhanced. Hip-hop is dividing us, further gapping the distance between generations, therefore communities, by promoting highly unethical ways of living and fueling racism. There are those who say that hip-hop helps underprivileged communities build bonds and share interest. However, are those pros really pros, or are they just a false sense of peace?
Hip-hop has paved the way for society to progress. It has represented and supported black culture since its birth. It is a vessel for expression and freedom, and we should extend our support to these artists that use hip-hop as a form to express themselves.
The youth are our future. It's pretty straightforward, to be honest. Feed them with the tools and attitudes they need to carry on the way the world is tracking like it is today. Although recently their outlook on the world has been influenced by so many more factors than ever before, and it is clear to see the confusion and disarray it is causing. Argumentative behaviour, ungratefulness, selfishness, not to mention all of the violence, riots, and general sense of unsafety associated with the volatility of youth all across the earth. All these prevalent issues are directly linked to an increase in hip-hop's popularity. It simply does not take a genius to figure out that since the year 2000, kids in general have only been getting more and more distant from their elders. It is no coincidence that according to LaughingSquid.com, in the United States, the hip-hop/rap genre of music has grown from an estimated 6.51% popularity per population in 2000 to 12.01% in 2019. That is nearly double the amount of exposure given to renowned domestic abusers, gang members, and murderers. Disgusting. To back this up, parent-child relationships have taken a huge hit in this time frame, with a decrease in excellent relationships between parents and their teen children from 62.7% in a study from 1998 to 2000 to 48% in a similar study in 2024. Furthermore, the very themes that permeate hip-hop are contributing to a culture of acceptance towards harmful behaviours. The glorification of drug use, misogyny, and materialism within hip-hop lyrics and music videos sends dangerous messages to the impressionable minds. For instance, a study by the Journal of Studies on Alcohol and Drugs found a significant correlation between the consumption of music with hip-hop music with drug-related content and the likelihood of adolescents engaging in substance abuse. Specifically, the study noted that adolescents who frequently listen to hip-hop music are 2.5 times more likely to use marijuana and 1.5 times more likely to consume alcohol compared to their peers who do not listen to this genre.
Hip-hop is a cultural movement that incorporates elements of art and is building the bridge between races and cultures. Racism is taught when you're young and growing up, and it's very difficult to teach racism to your children and separate the cultures when your kid looks up to or idolises an artist such as Kendrick Lamar. On top of that, it is a form of expression and it helps with mental health. This is because it gives the audience something to relate to, as some artists rap about overcoming hardships, financial difficulties, substance abuse, racial abuse, etc. Listeners will feel inspired hearing from an artist that has had the same difficulty to make it to the top. It will lead them to strive to reach the same heights. This obviously does not apply to all rap music. However, there is no denying that hip-hop has had a large cultural benefit. Therefore, we should extend our support to some artists to help and encourage them to keep doing what they do.
Excuse me, what are you doing with that?
Just donating this to charity like my favourite artist did before me. Good day, sir.
Excuse me, sir, what are you doing with that? No! No! Property of the state. The association of hip-hop with violence cannot be overlooked. Many hip-hop songs and artists openly reference violent acts and gang affiliations, creating a culture that glamorizes aggression and criminal behavior. This not only puts young listeners at risk of emulating such actions, but also fosters an environment where violence is seen as an acceptable solution to conflicts. Research from the American Psychological Association has shown that exposure to violent media content can increase aggressive thoughts, feelings, and behaviors by 30% in adolescents. Additionally, the portrayal of women in hip-hop often reinforces harmful gender dynamics. A report by the Gina Davis Institute on Gender in Media found that women in hip-hop music videos are often depicted in submissive roles, which contributes to the objectification and mistreatment of women. In a study analysing over 200 music videos, the Institute found that over 70% of female characters were portrayed in a sexually suggestive or degrading roles. The perpetuation of inequality which hip-hop has proved to be is simply counterproductive to the progress society has made towards gender equality.
Get him, he took my stuff.
Traditionally, hip-hop was male-dominated and often sexist and misogynistic. The degradation and objectification of women was a recurring theme in lyrics. This still exists to some extent, but recently this has begun to change. Many female artists have been emerging lately, and many have become very popular. Hip-hop has essentially been a reflection of how we move forward within society. Back in the 90s, it was all about overcoming racism, with the majority of artists making misogynistic claims and lyrics. However, these days, all of that of course still exists, however it is much less prevalent. There were very few female artists in the 90s who were all talking about self-love and all that, but now they are abundant and have the freedom to express themselves how they like. They don't feel the need to talk about loving yourself and overcoming sexism because the female rappers from the 90s paved the way for them. These days, artists like Nicki Minaj and others have stated that they do not see themselves as female rappers, however just as rappers, and that they fit into the game today.
There are those who argue that hip-hop helps underprivileged communities build bonds and share interests. They claim it provides a platform for marginalized voices and brings attention to social injustices. However, these perceived benefits are overshadowed by the negative consequences. While hip-hop does indeed highlight issues faced by marginalized groups, it often does so in a way that glorifies negative behaviors rather than promoting constructive solutions. For example, the same songs that discuss police brutality or systemic racism often also celebrate gang culture and drug use, sending mixed messages to the listeners. Moreover, the supposed unity fostered by hip-hop can be superficial, masking deeper societal divisions. The sense of community built around this genre is frequently based on shared experiences of hardship and rebellion, which can entrench a victim mentality and hinder progress. A more effective approach would be to foster community bonds through positive and constructive activities that promote education, personal development, and social cohesion. While hip-hop has undeniably played a role in bringing attention to social issues and providing a platform for underrepresented voices, its overall impact on society has been largely negative. The glorification of harmful behaviors, reinforcement of gender and racial stereotypes, and promotion of violence have all contributed to the deterioration of societal values and cohesion. As a global community, we must critically evaluate the messages we consume and the cultural influences we allow to shape our youth. By recognizing and addressing the harmful effects of hip-hop, we can work towards fostering a more positive and constructive environment for future generations.
Some people see hip-hop for what it isn't, as an influence and catalyst for violence. However, wouldn't anyone who does violent things do so without hip-hop anyway? If people want to commit a crime, they'll commit a crime. The music they listen to doesn't force them to do anything. No artist has been charged for telling people to commit crimes in their songs. And often lyrics are not meant to be taken literally or be believed anyway. Rappers just make music that sells, and by talking about sensitive or contentious topics, that may or may not be illegal, it's going to generate more talk, and therefore more people will listen to them. This does not mean that they condone or celebrate crime at all. Crime happens no matter what. These crimes are just often discussed in hip-hop, hence why people link hip-hop to starting crime, which is clearly a common misconception. Some other people say that racism is worsened by hip-hop, but hip-hop has been standing up for black lives for decades, when the rest of society wouldn't. To say that hip-hop has harmed black people more than racism has is ignorant and blatant racism in itself. You can't be that ignorant to the point where you just blame the failures of society towards the black communities on hip-hop. There are plenty of songs that highlight the issues within society, and this is the hip-hop that we should celebrate. And there are plenty of songs that challenge the oppression and prejudice of society and the government. To hate on this is encouraging the racism that hip-hop has been trying to fight. If you can listen to such pieces and still insist that hip-hop is bad for society, you are not listening properly. I see your sides of these arguments for how hip-hop used to be in the past, but you must accept that things change and hip-hop is not the same as it used to be. It reflects the culture, and the culture is changing. None of your arguments are valid.